Hi, it's Warren and Bridget
Hi,
again, Monday, and I'm Warren,
I'm Bridget.
and I'm in Bremen.
I'm in San Antonio.
There you go. And this week, there's just the two of us, which is just the two of us. Dun,
We
dun, dun,
can
dun,
make it if
dun.
we
There you
try.
go. We're going to be talking about the exciting things that you can do with your content.
Ooh, I
Yeah.
love content marketing.
There you go. So do I. Well, yeah. Yeah, I can like content marketing. Yeah. Um, Bridget and I put out a book a couple of months ago on there you go, right there, one of the many books. There you go. Only online marketing book you need for your small business. The second part of this 3-book series focusing on nonprofits is coming out in July.
Yep.
And uh, for nonprofits, I think where I sit, I don't know about in San Antonio, content marketing is really great thing for nonprofits
It's not just
to
great,
get
Warren.
into.
It's required.
It's required.
It's not a nice to have, as you would
Okay,
say. It's
well, I
a
didn't want to say
have.
required. It's put people on edge, and they're going, "Oh, it's something I have to do."
Well, do you want
Nonprofits are
money?
busy, you know.
But they
Yeah,
also
I'd like
need
some money,
money
please.
and
So we're doing good
volunteers.
cop, bad cop here for nonprofits this week. Welcome to our show.
No, but content marketing, I mean, for the people that are watching that aren't totally sure, small business owners, I know when I first started doing content marketing, I didn't know that's what I was doing. Can we
Okay,
have a
yeah.
definition? What is content marketing?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
asking.
yeah. I think we probably also we have two different views of what content marketing is.
I
For
know.
me,
So he said, she
it's
said,
yeah. He said, she said. So the good cop part of content marketing. For me, content marketing is using content to give added value to whatever it is that you are selling and your connections with the customers or clients. And yeah, making that attachment and that connection with your product. Content marketing are those toys that you get in the kids' meals at McDonald's. Content marketing are the toys in the cereal. They are the cartoons for GI Joe, if they still have those cartoons on TV. And it's a really important part of marketing because it gives added benefit. That's my take on content marketing. I think you have a little bit different view, San
so,
Antonio.
so online, content marketing maybe isn't a toy. It could be a PDF, right? It could be a white paper. It could be research, something that helps you. It could be a story. Um, email newsletters are part of content marketing. Content marketing,
Mm-hmm.
when we say content, we mean words. So for me, what I do is I write blog posts and publish them on my website in order to educate people
Yeah,
so that they can either do it themselves or have enough knowledge to hire someone who knows what they're doing.
yeah,
So by bringing, and when you said value, I mean, in marketing, we like to use these words and nobody knows what it means. So I always say I put words on the internet. So what I'm doing is I'm writing an article to show you how to do something and tell you why you do it that way. So think Julia Childs, so that you can go ahead and then make your own meal and impress the boss's wife.
that's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean,
And in
this,
return, you're going to continue watching the Julia Childs show and you're going to buy her book.
I hope so. Yeah. I
I mean,
mean, this,
there is a goal.
yeah,
Yes, we're educating our audience,
yeah,
but we want them to eventually buy something. So not maybe specifically, but like if you are to be a good audience member,
mm-hmm.
and if you read something on the internet that somebody wrote and it helped you, the best thing you could do is to share it.
That's right.
You don't even have to buy from that person. If that blog post, if that article, if that ebook, if that online Twitter course helped you, which mine is available, by the way.
Yes, I took it. Yeah, it's good.
Thanks. My free one. Share it. The best thing you could do is to share it. But eventually, you can always tell people
Okay.
about it, right? So it's kind of building
Yeah.
that relationship of, I have information, you want education. So when it comes to strategy, Warren, how how can a small business use their very limited time to write or produce videos on their website to kind of build that audience?
Well, I think two of the most important things for me that I would tell, or that I do tell my small business clients, my nonprofit clients, is it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's something, it's part of a process, and you need to start it. But if your blog has 2 posts, it's never going to get 20 unless you start writing something. So if you do something once a month, at the end of the year, you've got 12 posts. If you do it twice a month, you've got 24 posts. And it doesn't have to be a book. You don't have to sweat it. It can be something as simple as, a recipe, that goes well with one of your products. It can be an ebook. It can be a video like what we're doing,
Right. Right.
So it can be something very small, but you've got to get something, publish or perish. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is that that you don't need to do it by yourself, and you don't need to think of this as something that's going to be costing you extra money, because really important thing about your content is that, as you said, it's shareable. And you've got your customers, you've got your members, you've got your family, you've got your employees, who are your advocates. They are your multiplicators. They are the people who are going to share on social media. So it doesn't cost you money. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be out there, and as part of that strategy of connecting people, and they'll tell 2 friends, and they'll tell 2 friends, and so on and so on and so on. So that really is, I think, a very important part of the strategy is just do it, and share.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to experiment. So I'm going to tell a tiny little case study. Now, Warren is one of my writers, and we both have NDAs, so we can't tell you who this is for. But we have a client that has a demographic of Americans who are 50 years plus, who are college educated and have disposable income to go on river cruises. So we write about a lot of interesting things regarding Medicare and having a living trust and telling your kids that you're dating somebody, talking about divorce, I mean, there's a lot, it's a lifestyle brand. And so everything from STIs to how do you tell your kids that you bought your funeral plan, right? There's a lot going on. And as Gen X hits that age, which I'm pretty sure was there, we're just joining the boomers and all these people that are living longer. So we've been experimenting. It's mostly been kind of fun, educational. Here's how you do Pilates. Yes, seniors can do yoga, that kind of stuff. But I wanted to make sure we had more travel. And I wrote a couple of travel articles and stuff. And I thought, hey, Warren, you've been a lot of places. Can you write something about, secret spots, things that don't make you look like a tourist? Like I like to go, when I went to Paris, I stayed in the 9th arrondissement. I just walked around. We asked the hotel guy what the best place was to eat, and we went to all the places, and he was right. Like we didn't ask Yelp or Google Maps. We asked the local people. We wanted to have that experience. So I thought, why not ask you? You're well traveled. And so you came up with this great idea to talk about this fictional couple, Bella and Wayne MacGyver. And
Yeah.
they're like kind of ditching the tour that they're on, and they go through these adventures. And we've done Berlin, Paris, London. And it's funny because Paris was first. No, Berlin was first. Berlin was first.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
funny because when I looked at the Google Analytics, maybe you'll be surprised. In the top 10 for the last 5 months, so January forward for this client, Berlin's number one and we publish
Nice.
twice a week, by the way.
Yeah.
We publish 8 times a month. So this is just one part of all this content. 4 minutes, over 4 minutes on site. And one of the people who responded on the Facebook page said, wow, this is like reading a story with actual suggestions of places to go.
Yeah.
And I think that we hit something by accident
Mhm.
that's fun. And it's like the perfect content marketing. Like it's a serial, the way they used to do it. But then people are so hungry for traveling right now, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's also an important part of content marketing is that you know it's value added, but it's got to be relevant, and that can connect should connect very specifically with your audience. And I think as well, I mean, when we're talking about nonprofits, this is something as well, because I think, most nonprofits don't think about this, maybe they're, I don't know, church groups, they're clubs, any of your smaller NGOs, they are so concerned with, what they're doing to help people, that these extra things, like content or videos or whatever it might be, is sort of lost because they're not really seen as the sort of service or extras that they are normally used to providing.
Right.
But they're a very useful tool for community building, and for sharing, and I think if you know your target group well enough, you will find those little added extras that would hit a chord.
Even telling the story of how you helped.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Back when I was working with Give WP,
Mhm.
we did these things called Give Stories, which I believe they're still doing. How are these nonprofits making an impact? How has Give been a
Yeah.
part of it? It's a case
Yeah.
study, basically. But you do the same thing as a nonprofit, right? So
Yeah.
it's very important that you tell people what you're doing and how it's affecting your audience, right? So
Yeah.
if you are saving sea turtles, like what did you do with that money? When they donate on the
Hmm.
donation
Hmm.
form, how, if you're feeding the homeless, what happens with this $20?
Yeah.
Does it feed one person? Or, like how am I helping? We'll talk about it more in our book, but even
Yeah.
having a progress bar helps.
Yeah.
So like, it doesn't have to be how to do this, how to reach this group. Tell your story. Tell your story. Stories are ancient. Stories are in our DNA. Stories help us relate. Even sports does this. You don't love the Chicago Bulls unless you love Michael Jordan. That's
Yeah.
storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. I think there's a strong connection between the brand obsessions that we have and content marketing, because that's where they come from. And maybe it's not as expected to have this sort of brand obsession for nonprofit, but we certainly have it for our sport clubs, and probably any minor league, any local team. These are nonprofits. They're community sponsored. Church groups,
Yep.
choirs, any sort of local club. We can
Schools.
have schools. we have that passion, and you know,
Community
that
theater.
community theater is a very good example. Yeah. And they all have opportunities to do this sort of content marketing and to share stories. It's fun, it gets everyone involved, and it pretty much is free, you know, if you're doing it yourself.
So,
And sorry?
sorry, I was just gonna mention, just like with a brand that you think of like apparel or something, there's plenty of people who like to wear the horse right here,
Mhm.
or the
Yeah,
lizard, right, the alligator.
yeah,
But like, you know, like, so I'm doing Noom, and it tells you, it's training you to reward yourself with something other than food.
yeah,
So when I finally get to 170 pounds, I'm gonna buy myself a coach first. Why would I buy myself a coach first? So I could take it to networking events. Why would I care? Because it looks like I'm successful.
yeah,
That's what it communicates, because I have to market myself, right? So if they see that, they know, oh, wow, she has $200 or something, which I've spent more than that on bourbon. But let's be serious, right?
yeah,
But that identifies with you. I have a $30 purse. I love it, but I can't be bringing that to a networking meeting trying to be, oh yeah, I'm a CEO. I look like a hippie. But when I go and to donate to a nonprofit,
yeah,
I'm going to choose ones that align with me and who I am and who I identify with,
yes,
right? So I donate to Free Code Camp. I donate to a college ministry because I remember how lonely it was to be in college as a Christian. I donate to National Domestic Violence and a shelter that's run to house women in danger because that was my childhood. I donate to the Nature Conservancy. I don't say that well after my dental work. And the World Wildlife Group and Sea Turtle Inc. Because I believe that we have a responsibility, you know, and nature is where I feel the most whole. So all of those donations that I do that ends up being about 15% of my income, that has something more to say about me, the donor, than it does about them. And I think that if you can tell donor stories and ask them why they donate, then you're going to find more like-minded individuals. You tell their stories, right? That way you protect, especially in things with sensitive information, like maybe a group that supports cancer or AIDS victims, domestic violence. Those things aren't fun, but the stories are there. So maybe you can't tell the stories of the people you're helping because of privacy, but you could tell the stories of the people who donate because that it matters to them enough that they're willing to tell. And that is content marketing. You'll get more volunteers and more donors that way. The same way with small business. You tell your story. Oh, you're a women-owned business. Oh, you used to be in construction. I used to be in construction. You used to be in construction. Now you're doing marketing. That's crazy. You don't even know how many people I know that used to be in construction and now in marketing. It's
mhm,
crazy, right? Now I'm like, I have a connection with you. It's not anything you can measure in Google Analytics. But when you read that story, and that's why your about page really matters. When you read that story, you connect that person, boom,
yeah,
magic.
yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think that you know, having people identify with what's happening, and you know, owning that brand, it's really important when it comes to for nonprofits, especially when it comes to getting donors, because then that moves up from the level that, oh, this is someone who's donating money, you know,
Right.
then this is a member of our community, and then it's added value that they are part of the community, and you know, then it's a completely different funnel.
And
So
it's the
yeah,
same with volunteers. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of the millennials want to have jobs in which what they're doing for a living is changing the world.
Yeah.
Gen Xers and boomers work to pay their rent, but they want to do something that matters, so they volunteer. And a lot of the millennials won't donate unless they can volunteer. So you got to think of donors and volunteers as the same, like a very similar set of people.
Which is perfect because, most nonprofits are not in a position to hire an agency or a social media team, but these volunteers, can do this. They can take a picture, they can go onto Facebook, they can write a blog post.
Yep.
So you've got a complete circle there. Yeah.
I love it.
I can't wait to read about this in our next book.
If only it was an audiobook, it would have already been written. Here it is.
That's true, but you know as well as I do, stumbling across it, that as long as it's in Kindle and it's written in the Kindle format, Alexa will read it to you on your
Yes.
phone or at home. So
Yeah, you don't have to have a Kindle
great.
device. You just need
No,
the
you
app.
just have to have the app. So yeah, I think that's a great hidden feature. They don't advertise that, which is very odd.
I know, because when I tell people about my book and they're
Yeah.
like, well, I don't have a Kindle. You don't need a Kindle. You just need a Kindle app. And it's platform agnostic. You can
Yeah.
do it on Android or Apple.
Yeah. Well, I think there's something there for nonprofits to think about. I'm looking forward to getting into this further. Next week, we've got a really interesting guest, a good friend of mine who 20 years ago, so before online marketing, put together a line of perfumes and marketed it in the old-fashioned way. He doesn't do that anymore. He's no longer in perfumes, but we're going to talk with him next week for him to sort of really think about what would it have been like, and maybe would he still have been in perfumes if he were doing them today, like all those tools that weren't available 20 years ago, TikTok, the whole thing. Maybe he would have been a major perfume king.
Snapchat, TikTok,
Yeah.
Instagram Reels,
Yeah.
YouTube stories. Whoa, that would have been amazing.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this interesting conversation next week.
Cool.
So then it's goodbye from me.
Bye from San Antonio.
All right, and you have a great week. Bye.
Bye.